What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today we're going to jump back over to DC Comics, and we are going to continue our coverage over the Teen Titans and Superboy. Now, the reason why we're covering both titles is because when it comes to Teen Titans and Superboy in the New 52 era, you had to read both titles to get the complete story. You couldn't just read one without reading the other. And so that is why we're covering both books. Now, in our last video, we watched Wonder Girl try to fight against Superboy. Of course, she lost that battle, but now it's time for Superboy to fight against the Teen Titans as a team. Everyone is here now to fight against Superboy. And the question is, how will he win this battle? Well, we're going to find out right here. So if you like today's comic book video, hit that like button down below and subscribe. But here we go. Now, to begin today's video, we pick up with Teen Titans number 5. Now, with this issue, we pick up where our last video left off at, where you have Red Robin and the rest of the Teen Titans appear, getting ready to save Wonder Girl from Superboy. And so this begins the big battle between the Teen Titans and Superboy. But you have Kid Flash go in. Now remember, this is Bart Allen. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to learn about Bart Allen here in a few more videos, but for right now, this is Bart Allen, who has no idea where he is from, how his powers work, or where he got his powers from. All he knows is that he has super speed, but also he is overconfident, and so he runs in there thinking that because he is faster than Superboy, he'll be able to beat Superboy. But you have Superboy tell Kid Flash that thanks to him having telekinesis, he is able to think faster than Kid Flash is able to run. And so you have Superboy use his telekinesis on Kid Flash to make him run faster than he's used to, which is going to play a big role later on in this video. But while you have Superboy doing that, you make Superboy send Kid Flash just flying away, meaning that he could crash into something and cause a lot of damage. And so you have Solus leave to go save his life. Now, the next person up is Bonker. And remember, when it comes to Bonker, his powers work just like the Green Lantern, meaning that he is able to create constructs, except the difference is he does not need a ring at all. And so for Bonker, he is able to make constructs thanks to his mind. And you have him actually use that against Superboy. And for a moment, it really does look like that maybe Bonker will be able to stand a chance against Superboy. But of course, you have Superboy being able to overpower Bonker and end that battle very easily. Now remember what I said earlier, Superboy sent Kid Flash flying away, and so Solus left to go catch Kid Flash before he caused any kind of damage. Of course, she wasn't really able to stop him from falling down, and so he does crash into a random military ship and cutting that military ship in half, which is honestly a lot of damage, but hey, that would happen right then and there. Now, with Bonker, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, and Solus all being defeated, that leaves Red Robin Tim Drake to fight against Superboy. Now, this is a great moment because it does remind us what happened in our two previous storylines, our two previous videos. When it comes to Superboy, he does not have full control of his powers. His durability is there sometimes, and sometimes it is not. And that was mentioned a lot of times in our last two videos. And so here we are now, you have Tim Drake, Red Robin actually able to defeat Superboy. And so when it does seem like that maybe Red Robin would be able to capture Superboy, Red Robin begins this hero speech about how he's going to take down Nowhere, how he's going to save the metahumans across the world. But because he is so busy talking, you have Superboy realize that there is technology all in Red Robin's suit. And so using his powers, his telekinesis powers, Superboy fries Red Robin, shocking him with his own system, knocking out Red Robin just like that. And so with Red Robin being defeated, it goes back to Wonder Girl. And this makes sense because Wonder Girl is probably the only one who can go blow to blow with Superboy. And so now it's up to her again to defeat Superboy. But once again, he is able to prove that he can easily defeat her. And he does. And so the Teen Titans are technically defeated, except one member does come back and tries to talk to him. And that person is Solus. And you have Solus bring up two things to Superboy. The first thing is Nowhere, the evil organization that is going around and kidnapping teenage metahumans for unknown purposes. But also they're the ones to create Superboy. And you have her tell Superboy that what he's doing right now is wrong. That he thinks because if he does their work for them, they will let him go. But in reality, they're going to use him over and over again to complete different jobs. Then she brings up something called the culling. Now the culling is something we heard about in our previous video, but we still have no idea what it is. But you have Solus tell Superboy that sooner or later there is going to be a lot of blood on his hands. And so he should be very worried. Now he does knock her out and leaves, but because of what she said to him, he begins to get upset with Nowhere and another character known as Mr. Templar. And I'll explain who that is here in a moment. But you have him get so mad because he believes they're hiding so many things from him. His origin, but also their plans for the world. And so with that, he said, I'm tired of being their slave. I'm tired of doing their jobs for them. It's time to get some answers. Also, he feels bad about defeating the Teen Titans, but he does leave to go back to Nowhere to finally defeat them. We then jump over to Superboy number 6, and the first few pages are basically just a recap of what happened in Teen Titans number 5, so we can skip them. But we do pick up with Superboy now wondering if he is evil or good. Like, he feels bad for defeating the Teen Titans. And so we see him just sitting on a bridge wondering about himself. Like, is he good? Is he bad? I mean, earlier he knows that Nowhere is probably an evil organization because they lied to him. They told him that, hey, listen, we're just taking in metahumans to study them. But then you have the Teen Titans come to him and tell him, no, they're kidnapping teenage metahumans. And so he's wondering about himself. Is he good or is he bad? He's really having a hard time about this moment. And then he is greeted by Supergirl. Now for me personally, Supergirl was more aggressive than her pre-New 52 counterpart. I could be wrong, but she was really aggressive in this era. But either way though, she came here because she saw the House of El symbol on Superboy's chest. Now if you're wondering, what is the House of El? Well, the House of El was the symbol that belongs to Superman's father, his Kryptonian father's family, as a way to say this is their family crest. But when she sees it on Superboy's chest, she's wondering, what is your connection to the House of El? Here's the problem though. As she's trying to speak to him, she can only speak Kryptonian. And of course, for Superboy, he never learned Kryptonian. And so he is having a hard time actually understanding what she's even saying at the moment. Except when he goes to touch Supergirl, that is when he gets a quick history lesson because he is able to read her mind. And once he does that, he learns about Krypton, he learns about Supergirl, he learns Kryptonian, but he also learned that on Krypton, there were a bunch of clones that were made. Those clones began to attack their masters, and it led to a lot of cities being destroyed. That is very huge because after that quick history moment, he tells her that he is a clone, and she begins to freak out. She calls him Kon-El and begins to beat down on him, just like she did to Superman in her own story, which we have to cover very soon because that was another beatdown. But either way, you actually have Supergirl being able to give him a beatdown until he is able to blast her again with his telekinesis as a way to calm her down so that they can finally have a discussion. But once she is calmed down, that is when she realized this man has no idea about the clones on Krypton. And so she explains the reason why she called them Kon-El is the name given to clones that begin to turn aggressive against their own master. And so she says, listen, you are a clone of the House of El. You are really an abomination to the House of El. But sooner or later, you are going to get aggressive. That is your fate. Clones always turn on their own masters. But before she's able to explain more, they are attacked by some police force. She used that time as a way to get away, but as she gets away from him, she's wondering, is he actually a good clone? Was he actually telling the truth that he has no idea about the clones on Krypton? Also, was he trying to steal a sample of hers to make a clone of her? And so she's wondering if she should keep an eye out on him, which she will. But that was the brief fight between Supergirl and Superboy. But after that, you have Superboy remember that he must go back to nowhere to finally learn about his origin, to finally learn what their secret plans are. Especially now with Supergirl telling him, yes, you are a clone, but you are Kryptonian clones. And usually those clones turn evil and they get taken out. And so it's him wondering, will he actually turn evil? But either way, you have him go back to nowhere. He breaks down the front door and he is greeted by Rose Wilson. Now this is huge because remember, Rose Wilson, the daughter of Deathstroke, she was hired by Nowhere as a way to watch over Superboy. If he goes crazy, she was supposed to kill him. And right now it seems that he has gone crazy, which means she must kill him. But we jump back over to the Teen Titans because remember, they just got their butt kicked by Superboy. And so right now they're trying to gather themselves and hopefully go somewhere safe to recover, except they are greeted by a bunch of cops. And all of these cops are being led by Detective Lure. Now Detective Lure is going to play a very important role in later parts of this video and other videos down the road, but she is here because she realized that these Teen Titans and Superboy caused so much damage in New York City, they have to be arrested. She even says, this is not Gotham, Red Robin, this is New York. Y'all racked up $1 million of damage. So yes, we have to bring you in. But then the Teen Titans are saved by their last member, Skitter. Now remember, Skitter is a character who has two sides, just like the Lizard over in Marvel Comics. She has a human form, then she has her bug-like creature form. And when she's in her bug-like creature form, she's not thinking straight. It's not her usual mind. It's a different persona. Except this is the moment we learn that for some reason, her and Bonker have a weird connection where Bonker is able to kind of communicate with her, control her, to have her on the Teen Titan side. But with Skitter coming in, beating up all the cops and Detective Lore, you have the Titans being able to leave. Except that is the moment you have Kid Flash call out because he said, something is wrong with me. Something is about to happen. I need help right now. And this is going to be the important part for this part of our video. But then we have to jump over to Virgil Hawkins. Now, of course, we know that name. That boy right there is Static Shock. But for right now, he's not Static Shock. He's just Virgil Hawkins working at Star Labs. But the reason why we jump over here to him is because Red Robin knows how smart Virgil is. Matter of fact, he thinks that Virgil will be able to help out Kid Flash because something is wrong with Kid Flash. We don't know what just yet, but we can tell it has to do what Superboy did to him earlier by making him run faster than Kid Flash is able to technically do or used to. And so with that, it's Red Robin and the Teen Titans hoping that Virgil can help. But then something is calling out to Skitter, some kind of character. And that character is Grimm. Now, Grimm is a D-list character, really a D-list character, but he only appears in DC Comics about 3 times. Of course, this is his first appearance. Now, he does have 3 powers. The first is possession, where he is able to control people's bodies but not their mind. And so that is why he was calling out to Skitter to control her body, because her mind, her actual mind, is not working right now. The second thing is he has toxinkinesis, where he is able to release a toxin into people's bodies to paralyze them. Then he also has a way to transfer energy back at people, their emotions sometimes as well too, like their anger. You'll see here in a moment. But he is the bad guy of this issue of Teen Titans. Then we jump back over to Detective Lore. And the reason why I said earlier that she is going to be very important is explained right here. Because we learn that she is from the 31st century. And the way we find out is because she spoke a language known as Interlac that is only spoken in the 31st century. But also that she is looking over the files of Bart Allen, and she says that he is not supposed to be here yet, that whatever is supposed to happen to him is not supposed to happen right now. Also, she is wondering who in the world authorized him to come back in time and did not tell her, giving us a more idea about Kid Flash and her, because she also says that Kid Flash had a troubled past. But we jump back over to Virgil Hawkins in the Teen Titans, and we are able to see that Virgil Hawkins was able to create some kind of machine as a way to figure out what is going on with Kid Flash. Because right now, Kid Flash is very shaky. It seems that his powers are about to kill him and everyone around him as well. And so this is also the moment where you kind of have an idea that Red Robin is very cold-hearted, but for a good reason. And you'll see what I mean as we go through different moments. But right now, he's not letting Solus have a conversation with Kid Flash because he's like, listen, this man could explode any minute now. So finish your love conversation later and let's figure out what is wrong with him. But then we get reminded that Grimm is trying to control Skitter to hopefully help him break out. And the reason why we do remember that is because Wonder Girl and Bunker are outside waiting for the others to finish up with Kid Flash. And then you have Bunker realize that Skitter is missing. And of course that makes him freak out and trying to tell Wonder Girl that they need to go find her quickly. But getting back over to Virgil Hawkins, you have Virgil Hawkins tell us what is wrong with Kid Flash. That thanks to Kid Flash fighting against Superboy, that making him run faster than he ever had before, or what his powers could handle at that moment, Kid Flash is basically vibrating too fast. And with him vibrating too fast, sooner or later, he'll just fall apart, just disappear in the wind. His cells are falling apart from his body, and that is a very huge problem. But then we have to jump back over to Grimm and to learn why I say he is a D-list character. Now, we do learn his origin, which is that he was taken in by the military. He was tested on because he was a meta-human. They did give him some of his powers, but either way, we do see him fight against Wonder Girl and Bunker. Now, we saw him use his first power, which was possession on Skitter. Remember, he can control bodies, not mind. And since Skitter is in her bug-like form, there's no actual mind in that form right now. But the second power he used is on Wonder Girl. And remember what I said, he's able to send energy back at people, even emotion energy, because you have Wonder Girl use her lasso and she's using her anger as a way to energize that lasso. But you have Grimm grab the lasso and send that energy back at her. And once she's on the ground, he does use his final ability, which is the toxin ability, to paralyze people. Now, he does tell Bonker and Wonder Girl how his powers work, which is that his possession power lets him control the body, not the mind. And so with that, Bonker realized, well, wait, if you can control my mind, I can still use my mind to make a construct to knock you out. And he does that. Bam. Grimm is done for the book, literally. But to close on this issue, we do jump back to Virgil Hawkins, and he was able to find a way to help out Kid Flash, and that was creating a new Kid Flash outfit for him that will help Kid Flash control his powers and not just disappear, thanks to him vibrating all over the place. And so we do get this cool image of Kid Flash wearing a new suit, and you're like, man, this is great. But then you have Red Robin say, it's now time for us to go to war against Nowhere. And that is how we jump back over to Superboy number 7. But then we jump back over to Superboy number 7. And remember where we left off at. You had Superboy go back to Nowhere. And when he broke down the front door, well, he was greeted by Rose Wilson, because Rose was hired by Nowhere to take care of Superboy if he decides to go crazy or something. And so right now she's here to actually stop him, but she's here for another reason, because remember our first video where we had someone known as Caitlin Fairchild. She was the doctor that first took care of Superboy, but she randomly disappeared. And you have Rose upset because she cared for Caitlin Fairchild very deeply. But with Rose trying to attack against Superboy, she easily loses this battle, and you have him leave to continue on to go attack other places of Nowhere, but to find a character known as Mr. Templar. But with Superboy going deeper into the Nowhere organization, he is then confronted by Centerhall. Now remember, when we first met Centerhall kind of gave off this impression that he's one of the good guys that works in Nowhere, probably just working for them because he has no other choice. But right now he is here because he is upset that he lost to Superboy last time in their last battle, because Superboy basically ambushed him. And so right now you have the two of them about to fight against each other. And this battle doesn't really last that long. Yes, when it comes to Centerhall, he does have the ability to project some energy blasts at Superboy, but again, it is quickly done in about 2 to 3 pages. And this is where I try my best to explain who in the world is Danny the Street. So Danny the Street is actually a meta-human that was captured by Nowhere, but we come to find out he is a secret agent for Tim Drake. You'll see here in a moment. But Danny the Street has a unique form, which is that he is a street. He's literally a street, but he's able to alter reality to put himself in anywhere he wants to be at. So he's able to teleport and alter reality to put his street body anywhere he needs it to be. Now, with that being said, he also has the ability to create life, meaning that he can make someone come to life in his street, and that person can leave his street and live a normal life in the real world. But either way, this is him warning Superboy to turn around. But also that when he does leave, you have Superboy realize that he's back in his own testing room. But when he looks down, he comes to find out that he was the second experiment, meaning that there could be a first clone somewhere. And while you have Superboy finding out that he could be the second clone that Nowhere had made, someone is watching him. And this is the book trying to play the idea that this could be the main boss of Nowhere, the main bad guy that we're going to see in a future video. But It is him watching Superboy and enjoying that he just found out that he is the second clone. But you then have Rose Wilson being able to catch Superboy off guard. And with that happening, they do begin their second round of fighting. But this time, she does use a gun that has a kryptonite blast. Now, guys, remember, when it comes to kryptonite, it is the main weakness for Superman, Supergirl, really any Kryptonian. So it should affect Superboy as well, since he is half Kryptonian. But here's the thing, he gets right back up and he said, look, that blast did nothing to me. And so this is a brief moment to say maybe he is not affected by kryptonite. But then she is able to stab him, beat him up so easily. And that leaves you wondering, is that because he still does not have full control over his durability, or the blast from the kryptonite actually weakened his body, giving her the chance to defeat him and knock him out? But then you have Superboy wake up to Center Hall and Mr. Templar working on him, testing him, trying to learn more about Superboy. But if you're wondering who in the world is Mr. Templar, the guy in the black jacket, well, he is this character that works for Nowhere, but it seems that he could be second or third in charge of Nowhere. More like a hunter for Nowhere, to go out there and hunt different teenage metahumans across the world. He also has the ability to turn his insides into weird shadow figures to attack people. It's kind of creepy and weird. But honestly, you have them working on Superboy to kind of test him out, to learn more about him. But then the book reminds us about Caitlin Fairchild. Remember, she is the one who only cared for Superboy when he was first made. But then he attacked her because he found out that she was hiding something from him. But when he did that, he knocked her out. Nowhere took her captive. But then he felt bad, and so he broke her out and he handed her over to Detective Lure. This is why I say this character is so important, because this is the same character who's right now trying to figure out why Bart Allen's here in the present day and not in the future. But you have Caitlin Fairchild say Superboy is ruining everything. And honestly, the book jumps to the next section without us learning what she means. But we jump back over to Rose, and right now you have Rose just trying to go home because her job is done. She captured Superboy, but then out of nowhere, she is attacked by Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl knocks her out and says, I'm here to get my rematch against Superboy. And that leads us into Teen Titans number 7. So then we jump back over to Teen Titans number 7, as we pick up with Superboy still being tested on by Center Hall. Now, with this happening at the moment, of course you do have Kid Flash, Bonker, and Skitter breaking into the Nowhere organization to save Superboy. And the question is, why in the world are these Teen Titans here to save someone who just whooped their butts not too long ago? And so you have Kid Flash actually do a flashback to tell us how the Teen Titans decided to come here to help Superboy. We did jump back in time where we have Tim Drake actually training Kid Flash. And when I say training, I really mean that it is Tim Drake trying to get a better understanding of how the powers of Kid Flash actually work, to see if Kid Flash can be a great team member, but also to see if Kid Flash can control his powers now with the new suit that Virgil Hawkins gave over to him. But this is the moment where you have Danny the Street appear. And remember what I said earlier, that Danny the Street was some kind of undercover spy for Tim Drake. And so Danny actually got captured by Nowhere on purpose as a way to gather information for Tim Drake. But either way, you have Danny the Street tell Kid Flash and Red Robin that Superboy is in trouble. And then we jump forward to Tim Drake looking over the map of the Nowhere building. Now, this is also the moment where you have Tim Drake asking the rest of the Teen Titans to actually help him go save Superboy. And they're all wondering, why in the world would they do that? Because they just got their butt handed to them by Superboy earlier. And you have Tim Drake say, listen, it's what we do. We're good guys. But then he goes on to say that Nowhere is going around hunting teenage metahumans to use them or kill them or whatever. And the question is, what is the real plan of Nowhere? And so you have Tim Drake say he will go by himself if he has to, but he's hoping the others will follow. And once he leaves, of course, the rest of them do follow him to Nowhere. Now remember what I said earlier, when it comes to Danny the Street, he has the ability to teleport, and that is something very important to mention because you have the Teen Titans actually use him as a way to teleport over to the Nowhere organization. But when they did that, of course they all got split up, and so that is why you only have Kid Flash, Bonker, and Skitter right here, right now, saving Superboy while Wonder Girl is looking for him somewhere else, and we still have no idea where Red Robin and Solace is at the moment. Speaking of Wonder Girl, we actually pick up with her right now, still running around Nowhere, hoping to find Superboy and the rest of the Teen Titans, but she does run into Mr. Templar. And remember what I said earlier, Mr. Templar has the ability to turn his inside organs into some shadow figure creatures as a way to attack people. Now, this of course is going to be her battle alone here in a moment. Now, if you're wondering where in the world is Red Robin, well, we come to find out that he's in some kind of computer room trying to do something, upload or download something. But he is confronted by Solace, wanting to know what in the world he is up to. Now, he does not tell her. Matter of fact, he tells her to go away. He has this handled. But she is upset by the way he talked to her and now demands some answers on what in the world he is doing. But while that is going on, you do have Kid Flash, Bonker, and Skitter being able to defeat Center Hall and grabbing Superboy and getting out of there before anything else could happen to them at the moment. Now getting back over to Wonder Girl, who's dealing with Mr. Templar, their battle is very short because when he goes to grab her and her lasso, she does mention that her lasso drains people's life energy. And that is the end of Mr. Templar. Really anticlimactic. He is gone just like that. Now getting back over to Tim Drake and Solace, I really do not like this moment at all because it is Red Robin telling Solace that he had an idea that Nowhere was going around kidnapping teenage metahumans, but he really did not do anything because it was just rumors. He wanted to build a case before he made a move. And so what he was downloading was different files that Nowhere had on different teenage metahumans across the world. And Solace is upset with Red Robin because he knew what they were doing and he did nothing because he was just trying to build his case. She did not like that, and so she starts crying. Now to close this book and move on to the next thing for us, you have all the Teen Titans gather around in the main room, realizing that the mission is accomplished. They got Superboy. They were able to defeat Center Hall and Mr. Templar, except this is the moment where someone attacks them. And this is the moment we come to find out that maybe our true villain is finally here. The one behind Nowhere completely. And he says his name is Harvest. And he is getting ready to take them all to the colony. And this leads us right into the Kon-El event, which was a crossover event with Teen Titans, Legion Lost, and also Superboy. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. Later, guys.